I'm working for somebody else to create their story, and they've gifted me this ability to do that for them, and there's a bit of pressure on that, and I like that though.
I do quite a bit of commissions. People have a lot of different gemstones or jewelry that they have maybe inherited or been gifted that maybe is not their style, but they like some of my pieces, and I can work with clients' gemstones, or like say a cocktail ring that might have great stones in it. They can be put into pieces. Like this piece here, I did a series for a client with her stones and some of mine, and then some of the little kids' birthstones were put into the piece, so it was a very personal piece. I've taken cocktail rings apart and then I put them into rings like my 3 Flavors series rings or earrings. These are my dance partners. Sometimes people will have like a pendant that they got maybe received as a child, and it's like, well, we love this piece because there's a story with it, but they would never wear it now. But it can be put into another piece of jewelry that they'll wear.
I just finished a large commission of this young couple that got married in Lake Como in Italy, and they had a specific spot, and I did that piece for that spot where they got married. And it was a very large commission for their dining room, and we put that together.
I do get pictures of family given to me by some collectors, and what I do is I incorporate it not through the traditional manner of just doing the people, but I would do it in a piece like this, actually in the billboard. So people come to me because of the stories that I evolve in my pieces, and everybody has a story, every family has a story of how they got to certain areas. So with that, I'll include many things such as the virtues of the family, dates, businesses, many family members, but all hidden throughout the piece. So it's almost like a Where's Waldo sometimes.
I love working with people, getting to know them in a special way. And so I think ever since I was very young, people would ask me to do their portrait. And so I enjoy doing that.
It's very collaborative with the client. I'm a professional photographer, so I take the photographs that I use as resource for the portraits that I'm going to do. I'm always looking for what makes the subject who they are, and how can I discover what's most beautiful about them, and what makes them uniquely who they are.
That is a tool that I didn't mean to grow through my travels. A lot of the time I was by myself, so in order to meet people, I would have to start a conversation or whatever it may be in wherever area it was, and learning to talk to people, and then being honest with a lot of things. With the humor that I have is one side of it, but being honest with people allows them to be honest with you, and it's sort of amazing how open people get with me, and I hold it. It's in my memory bank, and it comes out in the pieces.
Well, I have to be sensitive to who the people are and what they're about. The piece that I'm creating is something I'm not going to live with. It's something they're going to live with. So I have to be sensitive to what interests them, not so much what I'm interested in, but I have to listen to what they want and how they want it, and then I go about trying to come up with something that's going to work for that space. First, I got to know who they are and get a sense of what they're about and what their intentions are. Usually I'm doing the focal point of the house, and so it has to mean something to them, and it has to be something special for them.
I don't do any casting, so everything's hand fabricated. Sometimes I'll see a piece that's definitely an heirloom piece that should stay that together because of the way it's created, and other times I can understand it's like a cocktail ring with spikes or whatever. It's not something it's wearable, but there's a story with it. It was their grandmothers or their aunts or their mothers even, and so then taking those stones and putting them into something they'll wear, that has a story to it, and that becomes their story.
I think there has to be some kind of connection and story between you and who you're painting, and I discovered as I painted them, I could come up with a path and a story that was meaningful. And I just think that's something that I really embrace as part of my process, is that I'm telling a story, that I'm describing these emotions and expressions that are in these people's faces and their demeanor and everything.
Like each one is such a challenge. It's almost like a puzzle to figure out, especially somebody's face, to figure out exactly what is that likeness. And every face is so different. Even twins, they'll have, such different characteristics. And the very minute things can make you either capture the likeness or not. So to me, it's very challenging, and I think I like that challenge.
I'm working for somebody else to create their story, and they've gifted me this ability to do that for them, and there's a bit of pressure on that. And I like that, though, because I'm always trying to create that, which means that I'm being challenged, and that's, I would say, be the best thing about it.
My favorite is when we do the installation, and when they go, wow, there it is, we did it, and they're happy and I'm happy.
There's a fear that some collectors have, although most people have seen my work, they've listened to the stories and they see that, okay, this is something that we would like to do. But what I do is a digital representation of the piece first, and sometimes that takes longer than the actual piece will take to paint. The work that I put into it is not a simple task. So it does take some time and energy in order to get these done, and there is always a waiting list for it. But understanding how deep I go into these pieces, everybody's so happy, and the good thing is, as I say, with the digital concept prior to it, there's already a visual of where it's going to go. And so people already know that they're going to be getting what they actually want.
People get anxious about stuff. They're not quite sure of where this is going or what they're... So I try to diffuse all of that. I try to play that down and say, look, I'll drag you through the process. That means I'll be sending you texts and photos as the piece is being produced, and they can see how the painting is progressing, and then they can go, yeah, this is going to be great, or why don't we try a little of this or a little of that. And I want their input because it's their painting, it's not mine.
We work with them through the whole process. So I'll even show them my sketch, and I always start with a sketch, and then they can follow each stage of the process. So, so they pretty much get involved in it from the start.
After we purchased a new home, and after we filled our needs for the walls in the home, we started to get a little deeper into the art system, if you will. And my wife and I tried to fit art into our needs, our space, but also into our history, our family history. And that's what the big motivator was. I had a picture, and it was the 100th anniversary from 1915 of my grandfather's barber shop. And his name was on it, and he was in front of the shop with his assistants. And we were able to get an artist who was willing and able to do the commission. And from that painting, or from that picture, he produced an outstanding painting. So that started us on a trek of family heritage and how we could accumulate art that represented our family through the years. The people who will do commissions will change colors, size. That flexibility is what makes it so wonderful. Watching it unfold, choosing what you're going to do, working with the artist about any particular arrangement you want, and then watching it come to life. That is really special. I would say don't be bashful, don't be shy. Search for an artist, find an artist. The artists here at the celebration are wonderful. They're very, very personable. And you search for the artist, you find someone whose work you like their style, and then you come to them with your request. And you start talking about it. And if it works, fine. If it doesn't, then you move on to another. Sometimes the artists get backed up with commissions. And sometimes the timing is not perfect. You have to be prepared for that. So I say come to the celebration early with your ideas. We'll look around, ask questions of the artists, and then if you're lucky enough, find one that'll do it and start the process. It's very rewarding. I just think it's worth taking that step. Even if it's not a family picture, you know, a view of your home or from your house, or maybe it's something that you have a special space for, and if you work with the artist, they will come to your home and look at, you know, what you're trying to achieve, and they're very open to your input, and they're trying to solve the problem. They are problem solvers.